وقارئه المرضي قر مثاله كالأترج حاليه مريحا وموكلا.
الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على رسوله الكريم أما بعد Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. We are going to discuss here what are the important steps before going into the actual rules of Tajweed. When I'm saying the rules of Tajweed is, for example, we have the ghunna, we have the mad, etc., the qalqala. So what is more important than these? So step number one, which is extremely important, is the fluency has to be right. So we have to be able to join one word with the other word, or reciting a word properly, combining the letters together and having the full sentence together. Yani the full ayah, whether we do waqf, stopping, or we don't do stopping. So for example, we need to know as well how to stop, and we need to be able to recite the Quran fluently. So that's number one, which is extremely important. Number two is to recite the letters correctly. So the letters has to be right. Yani we cannot mix up the pronunciation of the letters. We cannot, for example, combine, say that dha is recited like dad and it's recited like za. It's the same thing, for example. No. Okay, the tha has to be different from the sin. Okay, so for example, thamarat, we can't say samarat. Okay, so depending on the background, these mistakes will be more frequent in certain languages. So for example, in Urdu, we will have the tha and the sin, which is the same. For example, when they pronounce Uthman, they don't say Uthman, they say Usman. And this is, they can even say Usman sometimes. So depending on the background, depending on the language, the mistakes will be here or they will not be here. There will be different types of mistakes as well. So this is number two. All the letters has to be recited correctly. And to recite the letters correctly, we need to know the makhraj, so where the letters are coming from, and the sifat, the qualities of the letters which differentiate one letter from the other. Because, as you know, they have some letters which are coming from the same origin, the same makhraj. So how to differentiate between them? These are the sifat. Now, do we have to learn the theory or not? The theory will definitely help, but the most important thing is to practice on it. And this, makharij and sifat and the fluency, even if we use a color-coded Quran, for example, we cannot get these right. Okay, the Quran, the color-coded Quran will not help us in these two scenarios. So we have to go to an ustad, a teacher who is able to teach properly these foundation level. And number three is al-harakat. The harakat, yani fatha, dhamma, kasra, has to be pronounced with a proper sound. Okay, so this is important. Fatha is the a sound, a. Okay, a. And then you have dhamma, which is the u sound. So you have to round your lips and do u like that. Okay, if we recite o like a o, this is wrong, and it's a very common mistake. So it's not o, it's u. And then you have the e for the kasra, so e. This is the same thing. We cannot recite a, for example, not a but e. So these are very important basic level tajweed hacks and tips that we need to know and make sure that these three steps are followed completely and are mastered, inshaAllah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And then the efficiency of tajweed, of the rest, the rulings, the mad, the ghunna, etc., will come into place afterwards to make this recital even better. So this is the three tips, the three things which are completely necessary, and they are the most important steps. The golden rule is we should not jump the steps. We shouldn't go into, for example, learning the mad, learning the ghunna, learning that rule, qalqala, and all of these, if we cannot even recite, for example, fluently, or if, for example, we don't know how to stop, or, for example, the pronunciation of harakat is not correct. Because remember, all of these will come in every single word of the Quran when we're reciting. So, and the rules, they come sometimes they come, sometimes they don't come, sometimes it comes after one page, sometimes it comes in every page, but it will never be as every single word you have letters which makes the word. So these letters has to be 100% correct. And of course the fluency has to be completely correct as well. And number three, the harakat, the sound of these letters. So depending of the harakat, of course, has to be correct. So I hope this is useful, inshallah, and then we can move to step 2, inshallah, and the series will come in the playlist, inshallah, the last 10 surah, starting from Surah Al-Fatiha, inshallah. You are welcome to follow. Jazakumullah khair. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.